thank the Zellhuber family and Richard for asking me to share the memories that they've prepared of their mother and his eulogy. Alice Jones Zellhuber Smith's life was one of resilience, faith, learning, creativity, and deep love for family and community. Born on June 12, 1936, on a rural farm in South Dakota, Alice was the youngest child and only daughter of Richard Daniel Billman and Vera Gertrude Billings. From the beginning, it was clear Alice would be strong. Her mother gave birth to the sweet child alone at home. Alice's older brother, who was outside, heard her cry and crawled through the window to investigate. During her childhood, the family endured the hardship of the Dust Bowl. Her father found work in Idaho, and the family made the difficult journey west. Alice would later laugh while telling stories of riding in the back of whatever transportation they could find to get to Idaho, including a memorable trip in the back of a turkey truck. Settling in Twin Falls, Idaho during World War II, the family slowly rebuilt their lives. Through years of friendship, Alice joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints when she was 16. Her faith became a guiding force throughout her life and remained central to who she was. Alice had a gift for learning and teaching. Following high school, she majored in secondary education and taught high school English. Her adventurous spirit eventually brought her to Alaska, where she attended summer courses at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. There she met Donald George Zellhuber, after another English teacher from Kodiak, who was also taking summer classes. Their first date was at summer solstice during the night sun baseball game. The two married in Kodiak, Alaska, on winter solstice in 1968. Their daughter, Erica, was born in Oregon in November 1969, while Zell completed his master's degree. Alden came the following December in Kodiak. Alice later earned her own master's degree in education from the University of Alaska in Anchorage, continuing her lifelong devotion to learning while still balancing motherhood, teaching, and family life. Alice and Zell devoted themselves to education, retiring in 1983 from Kodiak Public Schools. Soon after, they moved to Sitka, where they built a home on Monastery Street, on land that Alice had purchased years earlier without ever seeing it in person. It was another example of her adventurous faith and determination. During the building of their home, Zell's brother Jerry and a nephew Mike came from Illinois to help with the construction. Mike fell in love with the place and eventually made Alaska his home. In Sitka, Alice began a second career at Sheldon Jackson College, teaching English and directing the Learning Center. She became known for helping struggling students gain confidence and skills, especially those who needed additional support to succeed in college. She truly was a master teacher of English and writing, earning a faculty teaching award for her work and leaving a lasting impact on countless students. In May 1985, Zell drowned in an accident while sports fishing. Alice suddenly found herself raising two teenage children on her own. With remarkable strength and devotion, she supported both of her children through missions, college, apprenticeships, marriages, and adulthood. Although that son of her, Alden, he did cause some angst when he announced to his educator mom that he was dropping out of BYU to pursue plumbing. She later acknowledged that that was exactly where he needed to be. And I'm thankful for that. About a decade later, Alice and Richard Dale Smith found each other in the perfect way for two people who were guided by faith and hope. Both widowed, they connected through an LDS singles dating service. That was before really the apps. They began communicating online and long distance to start their relationship. While Alice's daughter Erica was living in Utah, Alice traveled there for a visit, and Richard surprised her at the airport to finally meet her in person. Soon after, Alice invited Richard to come to Sitka. This was not his first time to the Great North. He had lived in South Central, working on radios. He was excited for another reason to venture to Alaska and see more of it. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't Alaska that he was excited about seeing, was it, Richard? He fell in love with Alice, the beauty of the town, and in a beautiful town, and the life they would build. In 1998, they married and began another chapter in their lives. Richard and Alice's gentle love for one another became an inspiration to those around him. They shared a love of music, dancing, travel, faith, and family. Together, they continued their adventures through Alaska in their motorhome, exploring new places side by side while building a warm and loving life centered around family, church, grandchildren, music, and community. After retiring from Shelton Jackson College, Alice remained endlessly active, tutoring students, filming local events for the television station, gardening, painting, and serving faithfully in church callings. Church was one of the places where Alice's love for people shone brightest. Anyone who attended church potlucks likely remembers dishes she lovingly prepared and shared with everyone. Whether it was tuna casserole, fruit salad, chocolate-covered mangoes, or Jell-O surprise, Alice delighted in feeding people and making them feel welcome. Food was never just food to Alice. It was fellowship, generosity, and love made visible. Alice also became the family historian in her own special way. She always seemed to have a video camera nearby, carefully recording birthdays, holidays, airport reunions, and all the lovely little ordinary moments of life. Even when she was not the pickup ride, every time, like clockwork, Alice would excitedly greet family members at the airport with her camera rolling, determined to preserve every moment. At the time, some of her shyer family members didn't always appreciate that camera, but today those recordings have become treasured gifts. She understood the value of preserving memories. In many ways, Alice is creating her own family history documentary. She also loved the program, BYU TV program, American Ride, delighting in its stories of history, travel, and learning. It allowed her to explore from her home. In November 2022, Alice and Richard moved to Juneau to move closer to their grandchildren, Alden and Jamie. Alice quickly fell in love with the mountains of Juneau, devoting herself to studying and painting them. She continued tutoring English students, sharing art with her grandchildren and their friends, and making new friendships wherever she went. Together, Richard and Alice created a precious life in Juneau filled with companionship, music, laughter, faith, and devotion to family. Those who knew Alice knew her kindness was not passive. It was active, generous, and immediate. Her granddaughter, Laura, recalled an evening when a young couple with a baby became stranded after a flight canceled. On the phone call to Grandma Alice, she picked it up and quickly then went to the airport without hesitation, brought the strangers home, fed them dinner, prepared the couches for them to sleep on. That simple act became a lifelong lesson for her family about compassion and helping others without question. Her generosity was especially remarkable because she herself had grown up with so little. Alice was careful with money and understood hardship deeply. Yet she was always seemed to have something to give, whether it was a warm meal, a ride, a place to stay, encouragement for a struggling student, or a quiet gift slipped to somebody in need. She gave sincerely and freely. Alice loved teaching in every form. She could speak passionately about history, especially the American Revolution and George Washington, and it was done with the knowledge and excitement of a true scholar. She inspired others not only through academics, but through the way she lived, with curiosity, creativity, faith, resilience, and generosity. Alice was truly wonderful grandmother. Her home was full of comfort, sweetness, and little surprises. The freezer was stocked with ice cream, especially mint chocolate chip, which was her favorite. I wished I had been her granddaughter. There was chocolate tucked away in the drawers and cabinets for grandchildren to discover. The grandchildren especially loved when Grandma took care of them when they were sick, because she truly believed that ice cream soothed a sore throat. Time with Grandma meant warmth, music, stories, treats, and feeling deeply loved. Alice passed on a love of music, art, and beauty to her family. Her grandchildren remember music lessons, dance lessons, local concerts, flowers, paintings, evenings falling asleep to the sound of Bob Ross painting softly on television while Julie Andrews sang in the background. In her final moments, surrounded by family, Julie Andrews was once again played softly as Alice peacefully drifted to sleep on the night of May 11th, 2026. Alice is preceded in death by her parents, Richard Daniel Billman and Vera Gertrude Billings. Her brothers, Clifford Dean Billman and Irvin Billman, and her husband, Donald George Zellweger. She is survived by her husband, Richard Gavin Smith, her children, Erica Donnelly Zellweger, Alden George Zellweger, her grandchildren, Laura, Xander, Jordan, Athena, Sable, Alana, Natalie, and her great-grandchild, Braxton. Alice's legacy lives on in every person she welcomed into her home, every family memory she preserved on camera, every painting and pottery piece she created, every hymn she sang, every meal she shared, and every quiet act of kindness done in memory. She will be deeply missed, but the love and goodness she poured into the world remains with all who knew her.